We're going to be right back with Dr. Jerome Corsi. Stay with us.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
This December marks 20 years that I've been on the air. Kicking off on Cyber Monday and throughout the entire week, we're offering the biggest sales in the history of Infowars.com, celebrating my 20 years on air. And we do it by bringing our listeners the very best high-quality products. Free shipping store-wide on Pro Gun, Made in America t-shirts. High-quality water filtration systems. But not just free shipping. 30% off Super Male Vitality. 20% off all colloidal silver. Buy 4, get 1 free. With your purchase of 1 bottle of DNA Force, you get 2 free bottles of Survival Shield Nascent Iodine, absolutely free, a $60 value. We're also offering 50% off a year membership at PrisonPlanet.tv and upping the number of people that can use each membership to 20. 20 years on air, and InfoWars is celebrating it with the biggest sale we've ever had. InfoWarsStore.com or 888-253-3139.
When you're out on the road, the last place you want to be is on the road. But if the unfortunate happens, you'll be glad you were wearing diamond gussets.
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They so pride in every stitch, guarantee you love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
We turn jeans inside out. Diamond gusset jeans. Made in the USA with unparalleled quality. Our Defender motorcycle jeans combine gusset comfort with Kevlar protection, so you can ride all day with confidence. Order yours at gusset.com. Diamond gusset jeans got it, others don't.
Aging starts at the cellular level. When cells become toxic, they die early and aging sets in. In the past decade, we have witnessed unparalleled scientific discoveries. During that period, key patented compounds have focused on mitochondrial growth, nerve growth, and rejuvenation. But no one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. We now have the synergistic solution, DNA Force, just one of the key compounds. BioPQQ is backed by major clinical studies and over 175 PubMed-listed published studies. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? The ultimate value, cutting-edge, trailblazing game changer that also supports the InfoWar. Secure your DNA Force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. DNA Force from InfoWars Life.
Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, your host today. We have joining us now Dr. Jerome Corsi. But before I go to him, I want to let you know that we have the Cyber Week specials at our site today. Been going all week. I don't know how much longer these are going to last. We have free shipping store-wide. We have 30% off of all super male and super female products. We have 20% off of Silver Bullet, and of course, that's in limited supply. Once it's out, it's going to take us probably another 6 weeks to get that back. And a special, if you get 4 Silver Bullets, you get 1 free. So that's 20% off plus free shipping. And of course, we've got a special that's our annual Christmas special on Prison Planet membership. Normally $59.99. Now it's $29.95, 7 months for free. That's only $2.50 a month. You can share it with up to 20 other friends now, not just a dozen, but 20 other friends. And that's something that supports our operation. That's where I normally hang out, is in the nightly news. And that will, of course, be delivered to your home for free if you get that on the internet. And it will let you every weeknight at 7 Central, 8 p.m. Eastern get the news as it's breaking instead of waiting for it to be posted later on. And, of course, you will have access to all of Alex Jones's documentaries. Is this an info war? The best way you can wake people up, I think, is with these documentaries. And, of course, keeping them awake as to what's happening on a nightly basis with the news. Now, going to Dr. Corsi. Corsi is a senior staff writer for WorldNet Daily, WND. He's also an investigative reporter, emphasis on the investigative part, because he went down and looked at the actual executive order to see if it was filed, to see if it was signed. Guess what? It wasn't. What's behind that? Does Obama have so much contempt for the process that he doesn't even bother to sign his edicts anymore? Or is there something else there? Is he trying to distance himself from something that is impeachable? I want to get Dr. Corsi's take on that. Dr. Corsi, thank you for joining us.
Great pleasure to be with you. Thank you very much.
This is a very interesting case and is picked up by the Drudge Report. You've been a couple of days with this, and you verified with the National Archives librarian, Jeffrey Hartley, that, yes, there has been no documentation filed about this executive order. Tell everybody about that.
Well, it started, I got tipped off by a good friend on Wall Street who called me up yesterday, very early in the day, and said, you know, he couldn't find the executive order that Barack Obama signed implementing the speech on November 20th, when Obama addressed the nation and said he was going to recommend this deferred prosecution for the basically the illegal immigrant kids who have come into the United States, and to keep families together, basically. And I said, well, let me look for it. I started looking around. I said, well, you know, I can't find it either. So about halfway through the day, I realized that there was some sleight of hand being played here by the White House, because what Obama had done was give the impression, the White House gave the impression. I mean, I'm getting the press releases from the White House, the pool reports. I'm looking through those. The general impression is that there's going to be an Obama executive order signed. Obama flies on the 21st to Vegas in the airplane. He signs 2 executive orders on immigration.
Wow. And
pool reporters are allowed to watch this, but no print reporters or reporters that would ask questions are allowed into the compartment in the Air Force One where President Obama is making the signatures. And so everybody just assumed that those were the executive orders implementing the deferred prosecution to allow these 5 million work authorization visas to be given to the parents of the Dreamers.
Yeah, that's what everybody was talking about. It's like a massive expansion of the Dreamer Act.
Right.
Everybody was talking about that. Everybody was saying he signed this executive order, and he's going back and forth saying that. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because the 2 he signed had nothing to do with this. It had one, we created a task force to study new immigrants coming in the United States. The other said the secretaries of state and the secretaries of DHS should get together and find ways to save money and make more efficient the issuing of immigrant, non-immigrant visas. So neither one, and I found both of those in the presidential executive orders on the White House website filed appropriately. And I found the only implementing order had been a memo written by the Department of Human Services, Jay Johnson head, that was a memo instructing that they were going to do deferred prosecution on this class of, Dreamer parents for 3 years, only 3 years. And there was nothing else that did it. So I began really searching around and realized then that Johnson had signed this memo but had not filed it in the Federal Register, which is another problem because federal agencies making rules, new rules, are supposed to file them for comment in the Federal Register. So kind of the final couple steps I took were I contacted the Attorney General's office in Texas, Greg Abbott's office, because they had led the suit of 17 states filing against the Department of Homeland, against the Obama administration.
Yes.
And I decided I better figure out what that was about. And Abbott said, well, they too had concluded there was no executive order. That it was all based on a memo that Johnson signed on his own authority. So we then contacted the National Archives, and the National Archives confirmed that they too couldn't find an executive order. So this was all sleight of hand. This
So
was
as you point out, head fake, question mark.
Head
Obama
fake.
never signed an amnesty order. It was a head fake, like his swearing to uphold the Constitution was a head fake, right?
Well, I think I've got another piece coming out shortly that tries to put this all together. But I think that the Obama people realized at the White House that they did not have the authority. Finally, they figured it out. As Obama has been saying for years, to change the law, which is what he wanted to do. So he kind of shuffled it off to Jay Johnson and said, you change the law, and I'll make like I'm changing the law.
This is unbelievable. Here's a guy who, as we pointed out many times, he said 22 times, I'm not a dictator. I can't just arbitrarily change the law. Then he says, I changed the law. He talks about his executive amnesty that he's done. And then when he's heckled by people who wanted him to do more, he says, hey, I changed the law for y'all.
Well,
and then he comes back and says this colloquial speech, and yet he didn't even bother to sign or file any of this stuff that was all a head fake, right?
And so, I'm kind of, I think there's some serious legal ramifications of this, which is what I'm writing about today. But I mean, first of all, in the context, when I wrote The Obama Nation, it was 2008 about Obama, I said he was, never experienced as an executive. He's a radical leftist, Saul Alinsky trained, community organizer, and he'll tell you what you want to hear. Yeah. And I think we're now living in the Gruber era, after Jonathan Gruber, our MIT professor, has come out and blathered about how much smarter he is than all the rest of us, and he's so smart that he can pull off lying to us for our own good. Yeah,
we need to change his name and make it a verb. We say we Grubered the data, we tortured it in a purpose to lie and to deceive, and I guess we could say that Obama Grubered his executive order.
Obama Grubered amnesty. It's a story. Obama Gruber, he didn't do any executive order. All just a big head fake. I mean, thanks everybody for listening to the November 20th speech from the East Room of the Oval Office. Nice big central hall behind them. It was really an impressive facade,
This is amazing. Now, they said at the Texas Attorney General's office, Governor-elect Greg Abbott said they were aware of this. I mean, what's the implication of this for the lawsuit that they filed?
It's got some pretty serious implications. I mean, one of the implications are that Jay Johnson's out there on his own. And if anybody's going to get criminally prosecuted for spending money that wasn't authorized, it'll be Jay Johnson now, and Obama can say, well, I don't know what he did. He did whatever he wanted to do. I didn't tell him to do that.
Jay Johnson changed the law. I didn't change the law. Jay Johnson. I didn't build it. He did it.
It's the same thing Obama is saying about Lois Lerner.
Yeah.
Obama gave speech after speech after speech saying how we got a Tea Party and Citizens United, and they're taking advantage of the tax deferred. And Lois Lerner says, well, I'll fix that. I'll make sure none of them get through.
Yeah.
So she creates an enemies list and starts discriminating, which is against the law, against political applications on political basis for tax deferred status. Well, here again, Obama gives out the message, this big speech, November 20th, and Jay Johnson says, don't worry about that, Mr. President. You don't have to sign anything. I'll go ahead and do an executive order you don't have to do an executive order. I'll do a memo. And so, I mean, the next thing we're going to do is Obama say, I'm going to give you an executive order, not sign one, put it in the drawer and say, I'll tell you what it means later on.
Well, this is very troubling on a lot of different issues, because we really have hit into this Alice in Wonderland government that we've got here. Even my previous guest, Joe Wolverton, talking about the UN Arms Trade Treaty, they're saying they're going to declare that that's effective on December 24th. Now, we haven't ratified that in the Senate, and yet we've had John Kerry, Secretary of State, sign the UN ATT, and of course it brings up a lot of questions about really what they're doing under color of law, things that they don't have legal authority to do, that they're just completely bypassing Congress, having department heads or having bureaucracies take action, and then knowing that the Department of Justice has got their back if anybody comes after them for criminal operations like we see with the IRS.
Well, exactly. I mean, the thing that really amazed me about the immigration the non-executive order, was that the White House took so many pains to cover this. First of all, we go back very carefully. They only said executive action, which means just a policy statement, not executive order. But nobody picked that up, especially when Obama flew the next day